Web Marketing That Works podcast, episode 127, with today's guest, Ilana Weschler from Green Arrow Digital.
Welcome to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. Come behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments and listen in as amazing guests confess the truth about what really works. Now, here are your hosts, Adam Franklin and Toby Jenkins.
Hey, it's Adam Franklin here. You're listening to the Web Marketing That Works podcast, and we're joined today by Toby Jenkins, our co-host. How's things, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Good to be here again.
Okay, so this is the show for people who love marketing on the web. You'll be taken behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments. Tobes and I are going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to confess what's failed and reveal the truth about what really works.
So this show is brought to you by our book, Web Marketing That Works, and specifically the bonus 33 templates that go with it. So you can grab those. They're free marketing templates over at bluewirmedia.com.au/book. And so, Ads, we've got our friend Ilana here today on the show, hey?
Yeah, Ilana Weschler from Green Arrow Digital. She did a great job as a cameo speaker at our recent web marketing 2-day bootcamp. Of course, the topic...
Hot topic, hey?
Yeah, she was talking about Facebook ads, which is an area that we are not experts at yet. And so we invited her along to educate the group as to just the power of Facebook remarketing and Facebook ads. And it's come a long way, I reckon, in recent years, because I was mentioning on the show, Tobes, that in our book, we were very harsh on sort of paying for ads, only in as much as, paying for ads can get very expensive online if you don't already have your foundational stuff set up. So like your website and your blog and your landing pages and your email nurturing systems. So we're very cautious about people getting into that too soon. But of course, since the book's come out, Facebook remarketing has really come into its own. And we're going to obviously talk more about what that is. But Ilana was so educational and such a good teacher, I felt, on the day at that marketing event, hey?
Yeah, she was excellent. I mean, I had to field a ton of questions from the group, and it's just incredible how specific you can be with that Facebook marketing. It's amazing.
Yeah, she was. Some people even thought she was the best speaker out of the three of us. So that's pretty very humbling for us. So we thought we'd better get her on the show so that we can all hear it from the horse's mouth and really understand what Facebook remarketing can do for our online marketing.
Sounds great. Well, let's get into it, hey?
Yeah, sounds good. My name's Adam Franklin, and you are listening to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. Today, I'm joined by Ilana Weschler. How are you, Ilana?
I'm good, thanks, Adam. How are you?
Very well, very well. Now, today we're here to talk about Facebook ads, and you're my go-to person for this. So there's a whole bunch of questions that I'd love to ask you. And I think the first place to start is understanding that I'm a bit of a beginner with this, and so are our listeners. So let's start with retargeting, because that seems to be, certainly for me, the flavour of the month. It's what I've just started to do, and I suspect I'm doing a little bit wrong, but at least I've dipped my toe in the water and I've been doing it. Can you explain to me the whole concept of Facebook retargeting?
Sure. So the concept of remarketing, whether you do it on Facebook or Google or wherever, is that you have the opportunity to show ads to people on the premise that they've been to your website before. So for most businesses, people come to their website, 98% of them don't do what you want them to do. So remarketing gives you as a business the opportunity to show that person an ad for if they didn't do what you wanted them to do, basically. And it is actually an amazing opportunity for businesses.
So they're those ads that follow you around on Facebook, right? So you go to a website and then later that day you go to Facebook and an ad from that website you visited sort of shows up in your newsfeed.
Exactly. And you think, that's amazing. How did it appear there? And it, or they, So basically that particular website has what's called a little pixel, a little cookie that they've installed on their own website. that has remembered the fact that you've been there and therefore enables that business to show you an ad in your Facebook feed.
Nice. So let's talk about this pixel.
Yes.
What's going on there and how do we do that and what does it cost?
All right. Firstly, it's free, which
Good.
is fantastic. You do need to create a Facebook ad account, and you only get 1 pixel per account. And the mistake that a lot of businesses make is they don't install that pixel on their website straight away. And why you want to do that is because even if you're not ready to start remarketing or advertising, by installing that pixel on your website straight away, it enables you to start recording all your past visitors so that if and when you are ready, you immediately have a whole list of people who have been to your website and know, like, and trust you to some degree. You can immediately show them ads. So the Facebook pixel has a maximum duration of 180 days, which means that it will remember who's been to your website in the last 180 days. So that gives you, 6 months to, if you decide to start remarketing, you can show ads to people who've been to your website in the last 6 months, which is pretty fantastic.
That's cool. And so for the people that are worried that Facebook's following them around or whatever, can people block that from happening on their own computer?
You can. So you have a couple of options. You can clear the cookies in your browser, or you can view incognito mode, which is effectively the same thing as you have no cookies, basically.
Gotcha. Okay. So if you don't want ads to sort of follow you around the net, then use private browsing or incognito. So like if you're looking, say, I don't know, for like a child's birthday present or something, I don't know, that might be an example. You don't want to sort of give the game away, use incognito. But otherwise, basically, when you visit a site, you're basically getting pixeled, aren't you? Getting that cookie.
Yeah, or as I said, you can, once you've sort of finished your browsing, you can clear the cookies so that they won't show you ads. You don't have to go incognito mode.
Okay. That's good to know for some of us.
Correct.
All right.
It's not good as a marketer, but yes.
No, it's not good as a marketer. It's to put people's mind at ease if they do want to know how to avoid that.
Yes.
But I certainly leave mine on because I think it's such a good. I just love the idea that you can visit a website, maybe get distracted, have to go to a meeting, and then you still get reminded of what you were there to sort of do in the first place. So I think it's really neat.
I actually will sometimes intentionally go to some of my clients' competitor websites to see what their remarketing strategy is, and it's sometimes quite interesting to see if what they're doing and how they're doing it. So it's a good, also, I think, a spy technique.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so you put the pixel on, you start tracking all that data so that when you are ready to go and you want to start running Facebook remarketing, then you've got that invisible audience built up already.
Yes.
So then what's the next step then? You just design a few ads or what's step 2?
So it really depends on what you want to achieve. So there's sort of a couple of classic, I feel, mistakes that people make in terms of remarketing. And I think the first mistake is sort of treating everybody the same. So let's say you've got a list of 1,000 people and 200 of those people converted into, if talking technical terms, be it they did what you wanted them to do. They filled out your online capture form or whatever. So I think one of the biggest mistakes people do is they lump everyone into the same bucket and they treat everyone the same. But what you want to do is you want to remove the people who have done what you want them to do. So you want to remove that 200 people who have already contacted you because that's going to annoy those people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's certainly something that I'm guilty of. So carry on.
You're not alone, and
that's why you're on the show.
That's right. But it's interesting. And I sort of use the example of putting everyone in the same bucket because of those 200 people. That doesn't mean that you can never show them ads. Like perhaps you show them a completely different ad. And that's what I mean by treating everybody differently. So you can also create a subset of that 1,000 people, or let's say the 800 remaining people who didn't do what you want them to do, and perhaps they visited one particular area on your site. If there's sort of different silos of your services or products, and you siphon those people off to show them specific ads. So you can show people different ads based on content that they've been to on your site.
Okay.
I'm getting a little bit technical, aren't I?
No, that's good. No, that's good. So depending on where they visited on the website, you can show them different stuff. So like if they go to, say, an events page, you can follow them up with information about an event. Or if they go to, say, a webinar page, you can follow up with a related webinar message as opposed to just a blanket ad or video like I've been doing, obviously wrong.
That's right, exactly. And that's why it's important to treat everybody a little bit differently. And so you can, as I said, create ads specific to certain content that they've viewed on your websites. As you said, the event page, perhaps you show them a video following up the content of an up-and-coming event they've looked at and for whatever reason they got distracted, versus showing them something completely different.
Okay. Interesting. Now let's talk about, I guess, because that would be essentially, that's what I would call warm traffic, isn't it? Because people have been to your website, they know who you are, and then you're then following them around with an advert.
Correct. So remarketing does fall into the category of warm traffic, in the fact that they've been to your website before, they've engaged with your content to some degree, and you're not completely unfamiliar to them.
Yeah, and I think that's what I really like about remarketing, because in my book that I wrote probably a year and a half ago, came out 18 months ago, actually close to 2 years ago, I was a bit down on paying for online ads. I thought, look, it's okay when you're ready to scale stuff up, but I didn't recommend it as a beginner's or even intermediate strategy, because it could get awfully expensive paying for cold traffic if you didn't have like your appropriate funnels and landing pages and all that set up.
Yep.
But since then, that was 2014 when Tobes in my book came out. But since then, remarketing's really come along, and it's caught my attention a lot, because I just love, like you said at the start, that 98% of people come to your website and sort of typically vanish and never come back again. If you're lucky, you get a 2% conversion rate. So the fact that you can then remarket to those is really cool. But let's now talk about cold traffic and different approaches for actually identifying who you might even try and have an advert or message appear to, because there's 1 billion people on Facebook. How do you work out, or how can you work out who you might like to show your messages to?
Do you mean in terms of your audience targeting?
Yeah, audience targeting. Yeah.
So there's customer research is a really, really important component to Facebook ads, and that's because you really have the most amazing ability to target your ideal customer. And I think a lot of the struggles that businesses have is really knowing deep about who their customer is. And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about where they are located or even what age bracket they fall into. I'm talking about like really, what are their likes? What are their dislikes? What books do they read? What do they listen to? What magazines do they read? And Facebook ads really does give you that opportunity to kind of go deep into the behaviors of your customer, and what they read, and various sort of competitor sites perhaps that they engage with. So part of the success of cold traffic with Facebook ads is really testing a lot of those different interest targeting. And Facebook ads has come a really long way, where initially when they came out, you could only include certain targets, whereas now you can include targets but also exclude certain other subsets of targeting. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say both you and I like a certain, for example, let's say we both like the Bluewire media page, but obviously I will like lots of other things, as will you, but we overlap in our like of Bluewire media. But as a business, like let's say I want to target someone who likes Bluewire media, but not, I can't think of an example, but a competitor that I might like that you don't like. So you can do what's called and or relationships. So you can say, I want to include this particular person, but within this particular person, I want to include the portion of people who are a subset of this that don't like this. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, that's getting pretty granular, hey?
It is. It's really amazing. And that's why I say, like, the biggest struggle that businesses face is really knowing that about their customer. And if you know your customer really, really well, Facebook is an amazing platform and an amazing marketing opportunity, because you can drill down on that target customer at a very granular level. But the important thing is knowing that, which I think, as I said, a lot of businesses struggle with.
So what about lookalike audiences then?
Lookalikes are amazing. So just for your listeners who don't know what they are, so basically, and this is another reason why you want to create that remarketing pixel on your site, because if you start recording people who've been to your website, you can say to Facebook, okay, these are the people who obviously know, like, and trust me to some degree in the fact that they've been to my website before. Now, you can then say to Facebook, take this audience and find me new people who have the same qualities, likes and dislikes than all these particular people. So I heard some crazy statistic that Facebook has something like 2,000 data points on each person in their on their user base. So if you can give Facebook an audience and they can look at all the 2,000 data points they have on each of those people and create the lookalike audience of that to potentially target new customers, it's great. But often what I like to do is to use those lookalike audiences, but then what's called overlay interests on top of that. So, for example, continuing on with the Bluewire Media example, let's say I use my lookalike audience, but I also include some level of interest targeting, be it Bluewire Media or a similar organization. And that way you're kind of giving Facebook as much information as possible so that they can find your target customer, because you want to give Facebook as much information as possible.
Yeah, nice.
But okay, you can take lookalikes actually a step further. So I might get a little bit technical here. And this is sort of leading into kind of creating subsets of audiences. So you've got your main list, which is, anyone who's been to my homepage in the last 180 days. And you've got that once you've installed your pixel, and that's fine. But then you can create a subset of that list. So you can say to Facebook, I want anybody who has, let's say, been to my contact page. And that particular person has obviously expressed even further interest in your business. So you create a subset audience of people who've been to your contact page. And then you can create a lookalike audience of the people who've been to your contact page, so that the people who've been to that contact page obviously are a lot more engaged. They want to get in contact with you. They're your ideal customer. And then you can create a lookalike from that.
Okay. So could you also go one step further and have people that have been on to your, like, they've actually bought something and have checked out?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
So you can target actual lookalike people to your buyers.
Exactly. And that's why it's important to create the subset audiences from your main master list for the lookalike audience purpose.
Because, of course, they're going to need much different messaging to a much colder prospect or someone that isn't prone to buying, just because they're at stages of the journey, hey?
That's right. So that's where lookalikes become really, really powerful, is when you start delving deep into your perfect customer to then create a lookalike from that. But I would say to people, you probably do need at least a few hundred people on that particular subset audience to create the lookalike, because you want to kind of give Facebook as much information as possible about your target customer. So you don't want to create a lookalike audience from, I think, 100 people. It wouldn't be that effective.
Yes. And so what about if you don't actually have, say, a checkout page on your website, like you're a bricks and mortar business, but you've got a whole list of the customers that have bought from you, say, in the last 12 months? Is there a way of adding them to the system or sending messages to those types of people and creating a lookalike of them?
Yep, exactly. So you can upload your customer database, so your CSV file of all your email addresses, your entire database, and Facebook will match those email addresses with the email addresses that they have for their users. And then you create your own audience of your customer database. And then from that audience, you can create a lookalike.
Okay. That's good. So if you haven't got the pixel on there yet, or if you've just put the pixel on, there's ways to be using Facebook ads and remarketing straight out of the gate.
Definitely. Yep.
Okay. Look, I think that's really given me a lot to think about and our listeners a lot to think about. What are some other common mistakes that people make, or things that don't quite go, they think it's going to work well, but it doesn't? What are some things we need to avoid?
So in my experience, what works really well on Facebook is having some kind of offer. And that's just in the inherent nature of Facebook kind of environment. People go there to look at photos of their friends and family. And if you're not kind of giving some kind of offer to distract them from their photos or engagement with their friends, I find that the best success has been with some kind of offer. Another mistake people make is they just bombard people with the same ad all the time. So you've got to look at the frequency that your ad is being shown to the particular size of your audience, and using a really powerful image is really, really important for Facebook because it's a very visual platform.
Okay, so when you say offer, do you mean a free offer or a paid offer?
It doesn't have to be a free offer. I've run lots of competitions on there versus some kind of discount offer. It really depends on your market. It also depends on what kind of audience you're targeting, be it a cold audience or if it's remarketing and the audience is a little bit warmer. It really depends on the nature of the kind of campaign. You can run what's called like a shopping cart abandonment campaign, which is you've got an e-commerce store and somebody has added an item to the cart, but they didn't complete the checkout. Perhaps you run, as I said, what's called a shopping cart abandonment campaign for that particular type of person, and you offer 10% off, for example. So they've abandoned their shopping cart. Perhaps they need a little sweetener to the deal to get them over the line, and obviously that audience will be quite small because, hopefully not many people fall into that category, or you can offer free shipping or something. And that's what I kind of mean by some kind of offer. It doesn't have to be free, or maybe some level of a discount.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I teach a class at university, and when the students, when they go shopping, they deliberately will sort of go all the way through the checkout process, but abandon the cart at the last minute because they know that they're going to get retargeted like 10% off or 20% off, and then they buy it for 10% or 20% off when they see the ads later that night on Facebook. So the young kids have got it pretty wired, I reckon.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they would have bought it anyway, but they just know they're going to get it cheaper if they abandon it, and then the company will come groveling back to them, with an offer.
That's too funny. I actually have to say I've never heard that before.
It's not bad from the uni students, hey?
Yeah, they come up with really clever ways to save money.
Yeah. It's driven out of necessity, isn't it, when you're a uni student? So that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, too funny.
Yeah. So, Ilana, where can people go to find out maybe some more about you or some more about Facebook retargeting?
Sure. So my website is greenarrowdigital.com, where we write a whole bunch of stuff about Facebook ads as well as Google ads, because we look after both Google ads and Facebook ads.
Nice. And then do you know of a good guide online for installing that Facebook pixel? Is it just on Facebook, or is there an article that's worthwhile checking out, or?
There should be a Facebook help article actually, but I will put one together for my site and maybe we can make it available in the show notes or something. But I've got one for Google. I haven't yet done a guide for Facebook, but I'm pretty sure Facebook has its own help center guide. It's it takes people like 30 seconds to do it. It's very easy.
Yeah, cool. All right, so keep an eye out for Ilana's article and alternatively look at Facebook's help. And get that pixel on your website as soon as you can.
Yes.
Basically, you just go into Facebook, and then there's a little button that even just says, send this to your developer, and you pop in your web developer's email address and you send it off to him or her, and then they just stick it on the website.
Yep.
If you're a little bit techie, you can do it yourself, but I prefer to leave that in the hands of people more technical than me.
Exactly. But as you said, you've got to get the pixel on straight away because you'll have people adding to your imaginary list, which is what you want.
Okie dokie. Good stuff. Great advice there. Thanks, Ilana.
No worries.
Thank you for coming on the show. And listeners, I recommend you get over to greenarrowdigital.com and check out more about that. And I reckon we call that a wrap.
Cool. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure, Ilana. Catch you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
So that's a wrap for my interview with Ilana Weschler. TJ.
Yeah, so where did you sort of feel you got the most value from that one, ads?
Well, I thought I'm always blown away by Facebook ads. And for starters, it's pretty good to know that we've been doing it wrong, which is why we get people like Ilana to come and teach us what to do better. But I mean, I'm guilty of showing the same message to the same people and treating everybody the same. Whereas, of course, Ilana was saying that you need to treat the different types of people differently and show them different messages as opposed to the sort of the same message or the same video over and over. So at its most simple level, that was a really powerful take-home. But getting more advanced, I just thought the fact that you can find lookalike audiences for your customers. So if whether you upload a CSV of your own customer list into Facebook, and then Facebook will search all of its data and find a lookalike audience of your actual customers, or if you've got it set up so that your website tracks who ends up on a cart checkout page. So they've actually bought something, and then that's a particular subset of an audience. And again, Facebook can go out and find lookalike audiences of your clients, whether it's straight off your website or something you upload yourself. So there's going to be different messaging to the types of people who are an existing customer, who you're looking to find maybe repeat business for, versus people who look like a customer but haven't bought from you yet, versus people that have just discovered you and who might be a bit more cold. So it's just so many possibilities with what you can do with it all. It can, obviously can get a little bit overwhelming because it's just so many things that you can do. But she brought it back down just to, the simple stuff first, putting that Facebook audience pixel on the website, start building up all that data, that invisible audience, that invisible list, so that when you are ready to kick it off, you've actually got a whole bunch of data that you can be using. So really interesting, I thought.
Yeah, that makes for such an easy first step, doesn't it? And, non-committal, no budget, but just to sort of dip your toe in the water, I guess, by putting that pixel on your website. And then you can make that decision later on. But the sooner you get that on, the sooner you can be collecting the data that will help you later on if you do decide to switch it on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, big takeaway. If you haven't put your Facebook pixel on, go ahead and do that straight away. Google it. Facebook will have an article on it, and Ilana is actually writing one for her blog. So we're going to add that to the show notes once that's ready. But yes, very useful stuff, and I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot more from us and from our guests about Facebook ads coming up. So stay tuned.
Terrific. Well, as always, the show is brought to you by our 33 free marketing templates. So you can download them at bluewiremedia.com.au/book. If you've got any questions or feedback, we'd love to hear it. My email address is toby.jenkins@bluewiremedia.com.au, and my Twitter handle is toby_Jenkins. So you can find me there.
Yeah, and the best way to get me is email adam.franklin@bluewiremedia.com.au. So if you enjoyed the show, and I hope you did, Tobes and I would love it if you could take a minute now just to head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us an honest review. It makes such a difference to our visibility and to our downloads and helping get good quality guests like Ilana on the show. So with that, I look forward to seeing you, Tobes, and you, our listener, on the next show.
See you soon.